Hello, YouTube! Welcome in, welcome in. We are checking out the Fat Files. Not the Fat Electrician, the Fat Files. This is Rabbits vs. Farmers, A History of Violence. We don't get a chance to watch too much Fat Files, but I saw this one, and I saw it was, kind of in my range of video times, so I figured, you know what, let's give it a watch. And also, bunnies versus farmers. I grew up on a farm. I fully understand. Anyway, let's get to watch it.
Okay, we've been doing nothing but talking about businesses on this channel for months now. We need to get a little bit more unhinged. Today we're talking about the Great Idaho Bunny.
I just realized Fat Electrician is one for war, and Fat Files is his one for businesses and that sort of thing. Hey, look. It's a history of violence in the title. I instantly defaulted my brain to being like, oh, this is an interesting war story. You know what? Rabbits versus farmers. You know what? Makes sense. My bad.
Bunny Bash, that time in 1981 when a bunch of Idaho farmers were having their crops eaten by jackrabbits, and they came to the very logical conclusion that the only way to handle this was to grab a bunch of baseball bats and treat it like it was the opening scene to the Gangs of New York.
Oh, Bunny Bash was an actual event. Oh, that's horrifying. I understand why the farmers needed to try to do something in order to take care of the rabbit problem, because, that's the thing, right? A farmer's farm is their livelihood. If they're not making crops, they're not getting food. If they're not getting food, they can't sustain their family, and they can't go to market. Meaning, they die. or their farm dies, and they have to, close up shop. So they have to do something about the rabbits. And farmers, at the end of the day, they tend to not care as much about the critters or the local wildlife around them as much as most people would, because, these things are nuisances. They are trespassing on their property. They are destroying their livelihood, so they, in turn, will destroy the lives of the critters trying to destroy their livelihood. There are lots of farmers who will figure out how to do this sort of thing in a humane way, with live traps and that sort of thing, relocating the critters a good distance away. But back in the day, that's not fully an option.
Just so we're clear, this is not the first time this has happened. This is just the last time that this happened, okay? Farmers and jackrabbits have been having turf wars with each other for centuries. And we're going to get to all of it right after a word from our sponsor.
Hi. Meet me.
Hi.
Look at my new carry gun.
Where did you get the new Canic Radiant?
They sent it to me.
No, they sent it to me. That's my new carry gun.
I could have my old one.
What am I
done
supposed to do with this? This video is brought to you by Delete Me, okay?
It's not what you do with that one. It's where it's been, bud.
Super simple business model. You give them money, they turn around and they make sure the data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal information.
Also, she just straight up had that thing just hiding there. I don't think there was no, how the hell was that thing hiding in there? Jesus Christ.
Pretty much anytime anything is free on the internet, but you have to make an account and give them your name and address and email address and all that stuff, they're basically just taking all that information, selling it to data brokers, and that's how they're able to offer that service for free. But when you have Delete Me, they monitor all the major data brokers. Whenever they start selling your personal information, they automatically submit the opt-out request for you and have that information taken down, and they give you quarterly reports to let you know how many different listings they've taken down. But then Delete Me still has my information. Yeah, obviously, they kind of have to have the information so they know what information to have taken down. That's just how that works. I mean, your options are really A, you have a bunch of people selling your information to anybody that's got cash, or B, there's one person that has your information and their entire job is to make sure nobody else has it and you're paying them directly. Yeah, I'm taking B, all right? Which raises the next question, is Delete Me gonna be able to keep my personal information safe? So I asked them. They said their security certification is a ISO 27001. I had no idea what that meant, so I Googled it. Apparently, they have the highest level of security certification.
The highest level globally recognized credentials for managing information security management systems under the ISO IEC 27001 are the lead implementer and lead auditor certifications. Rather than ranking above each other, they serve different career tracks. Lead implementer focuses on building and managing the ISMS framework, while lead auditor focuses on evaluating and assessing compliance.
That you can get. So yeah, I've been using Delete Me for years. I was using them before they were paying me to talk about them. I'll probably be using them after they quit paying me to talk about them. If you want to give it a try, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back.
I mean, unless it somehow turns out to be a honey situation and they're not only taking your information but selling it and then deleting everybody else. That'd be wild. But no, that's definitely not happening. That's just me being conspiracy brained. Yeah.
To the video. All right, in order to understand the Great Bunny Bash, the first thing we got to realize is that we're not actually talking about bunnies, you know, like the cute little Easter bunnies. No, we're not talking about Peter Cottontail. We're talking about jackrabbits.
Ooh.
Okay, you probably thought they were the same or similar. They're not, okay? A jackrabbit is what happens when you take a normal rabbit, you give it a steady diet of steroids, then you get it hopped up on methamphetamines and Viagra and give it an unshakable hatred for agriculture. Your average jackrabbit weighs like 9 pounds and it eats a pound of food a day. All right, I'm gonna say that again, but a little bit slower. It eats 1/9 of its body mass in food.
And yet it looks like a pencil. Like, this is like a deer mixed with a rabbit at the end of the day. Yeah.
Every single day, and whatever it decides to eat, it's not just walking up and nibbling on the leaves. No, it picks a plant and then eats the entire plant all the way down to its roots so that it never regrows ever again.
Oh.
Jackrabbits multiply and breed so fast that nature literally cannot keep up. Every 10 years, jackrabbits experience a population boom, and it's because a jackrabbit can have anywhere between 3 to 8 offspring every single month. Okay, we've all heard the phrase breed like rabbits. Yeah, jackrabbits look at regular rabbits and are like, those are rookie numbers, watch this shit. They quite literally outbreed their natural predators, and once there's so many jackrabbits that the natural predators can't keep up, it reaches a critical mass, and then there's just jackrabbits everywhere. And when I say there's jackrabbits everywhere, I'm talking about like millions and millions of jackrabbits. And if that wasn't bad enough, once the predators can't keep up with their population, they're basically unkillable because their preferred environment is a drought. You know, that weather condition that kills or drives away all other forms of life? Yeah, jackrabbits are sitting there like, this is fucking dope, I like this. And then because...
Why would they like that? I mean, granted, yeah, they'll eat everything straight down to the root. So, I mean, if they find just a few blades of grass, that should do the trick for them, but like, granted, they need like a pound of food a day. So probably one of the biggest reasons why they need that is because of their hyperactivity. Rodents tend to have an extremely complex metabolism system, requiring them to eat massive amounts of food in order to maintain the like sheer amount of like anxiety and like they're constantly on edge. They're constantly on like 100% movement speed, basically. And they're constantly having to like fuel that. It'd be like you're playing Minecraft, right? And you know how when you're running around all the time, running and jumping because that's the fastest way to move at the beginning of the game, but when you do that, you're burning through so much freaking hunger bar. It's like that. But that is what a rodent is on, just sitting still. Once they start moving, they start burning that stuff even faster, meaning they're constantly having to basically like, that's why a rodent is constantly like getting into your food stores, getting into your grains, getting into like your chip bags, getting into literally friggin' everything and finding all the food and just ruining all the food. That's the only place you'll ever find them, because they literally have to eat 100% of the time or they will probably starve.
Because the drought drives away all the predators or kills off all the predators, the jackrabbits multiply even more, and then there's even more jackrabbits. So not only do they have this like 10-year cyclical population boom, a population boom can also happen if there's a drought. Once they outbreed the natural predators, the only thing that keeps their population in check outside of human intervention is they eat everything in their ecosystem until they starve to death, or A disease happens and they're living in such close proximity because there's so many of them that the disease wipes them out. There's literally accounts from the 1800s during population outbreaks where people said it looked like the ground outside was moving, and wildlife biologists say that during population booms, there can be over 200 jackrabbits per square mile. All of them eating a pound of food a day and reproducing 8 more jackrabbits every 30 days. It's literally a plague.
Houston,
Yeah, no, that is a problem. That is a problem. That is basically when nature evolved itself into a corner in a lot of ways. They're too efficient at what they're designed to do. Way too efficient. Because evolution is supposed to focus fire survivability. Well, the jackrabbit's survivability point was learn how to eat and forage for food as effectively as possible, i.e., they will eat literally everything straight down to the root. They haven't learned self-preservation in that regard because that's not their main goal. Their main goal is to eat everything and then reproduce. If there are more of us than there are of them, our species will always survive. Unfortunately, it worked too well. Just a little too well, and now they end up becoming their own worst nightmare, and they become a detriment to the environment around them. Okay, fair enough then.
we have a problem.
Because of this, humans have been killing jackrabbits in North America longer than we've had written history. Obviously, Native Americans have been killing jackrabbits forever to use their pelts, to eat them, whatever, that's perfectly fine. But during population booms, they would also have a practice of mass culling so that they could get a bunch of pelts and a bunch of food all at once. The way they would do this is they would get a bunch of the boys together, they would all stand in a big straight line at arm's length, they would grab their tomahawks or their spears or their bow and arrows or whatever, and they would slowly start walking through a field, driving these hundreds and thousands of rabbits one direction, and then slowly circle around until they formed a circle around a massive herd of rabbits, and then just kill all of them. Ken, I know what you're thinking. Why would they kill them that way? Why not just shoot them with a bow and arrow? Okay, well, first of all, there's
fucking good luck. Good fucking luck.
There's too many of them. I've only got so many arrows. Second of all, it's a target this big and it runs at 45 miles an hour. This is literally the only practical way to do it.
You gotta be quicker than that.
Okay, fast forward to the 1800s. You get westward expansion. People coming over. They're starting farms. What do farmers do? Farmers kill off natural predators, like coyotes. Why? Because they're eating my chickens.
I saw one of my chickens get captured by a coyote, and I watched him hop the fence with a chicken in his mouth. I'm like, God damn these motherfuckers.
Okay, we can't have that, so the farmers kill off the coyotes. That makes sense. Only problem, guess what the coyotes aren't doing now? Killing off the jackrabbits. Now, the jackrabbit population explodes. And the only thing left to control it is disease or starvation, and starvation isn't gonna happen because there's farmers, there's way more food because the farmers are growing fucking food. So now there's more jackrabbits than there's ever been ever. It's just a plague of jackrabbits. They're absolutely everywhere. And now these millions of jackrabbits are eating all the farmers' crops. They can't have that because then they're not gonna have any crops. So now the farmers gotta kill off all the jackrabbits. It's like that little kid story, you know, the old lady that swallowed the fly and then she swallowed the spider to eat the fly and she swallowed the bird to eat the spider. Sorry, I've been
that's a wild story. Oh my god, that's a wild one. I don't think I've heard that one, but yeah, no, it's a vicious cycle. Like the farmers come in order to make food for them and their community, right? Yeah, cool. Well, in order to do that, they need to adjust the land. In order to adjust the land, they need to clear out the predators so that their livestock and everything is all safe. They get rid of the predators in the area. Perfect. Now they can grow the food. Well, that's bringing in all the prey for those predators that they just scared off. Great. There's no predators keeping those things in check, and those things are now taking a portion of your product, meaning that there's less food for you to give to your people, less food to put on your table, and now they have to figure out how to become the predators now themselves, while also still growing the food for their community and for their table. That's once again, I lived on a farm for a very long period of time. I can tell you, there is no shortage of work, just general work that you have to do when you live on a farm. And no, I never, I should clarify, I didn't work on like a big mass production farm or anything like that. We didn't do like, it was more of a hobby farm at best. So we would have a few chickens, we would have a few horses. I think one year we had a couple pigs. For a huge chunk of time we had goats and all that sort of thing. But And I'm telling you this right now, there was no shortage of shit to do just with that. Imagine a full-scale operation where this is your livelihood. You literally wake up at the crack of dawn, and you are not done until you're going to bed at night. It is rough.
Reading my kids too many bedtime stories anyways. And it wasn't just the crops, it was also eating all the feed for the cattle and the horses, because jackrabbits also eat hay, and when jackrabbits eat hay, they eat it from the bottom where they can reach, and then they eat out the bottom of a giant pile of hay, and then the whole thing can
The
bottom where they can reach, and then they...
That is pain. That is so painful to see. So, now this is very unstable, and it's not safe for your animals to get in there. These things are heavy. These things are extremely heavy. And horses are dumb. They'll just go right in from the side and just kind of like burrow a hole through these things. But also, this is a storage. This isn't like how they're using this hay at the same time. This is a storage. So now how the fuck are you going to get these down?
Eat out the bottom of a giant pile of hay, and then the whole thing can fall over and crush somebody, so that's dangerous. And then once the jackrabbits do get into the hay that they don't eat, they piss and shit all over, so it ruins all of it. So not only are the jackrabbits eating all the crops, they're also potentially starving off all the livestock. If so facto, the rabbits gotta go. So the farmers looked at what the Native Americans did, and they were like, okay, that's a pretty good fucking idea. Over time, they refined the process a little bit. They didn't just make a big circle around the rabbits. They'd put up a fence and then basically form a phalanx like the 300 Spartans, and then walk them into the fence and then club them all to death.
We fight as a single, impenetrable unit.
And from here, it kind of turned into like a community event. Whenever there was a rabbit drive, like all the people show up, they bring their wives, their kids, the sons, maybe the daughters help. The wives are off on the sideline getting the picnic ready so everybody can eat after they kill all these rabbits, because everybody's tired from swinging a club for an hour straight, and it becomes a communal thing. And this is how the jackrabbit population in the western states of the United States of America stayed in check for over 100 years. Like, I went back and dug through old newspapers, and pretty much since newspapers have been mainstream or like in common circulation, there's been articles about...
Farmers say second rabbit roundup a success. Bunny Bash peaceful. Rabbit drive at Duster's Tuesday. Round 5 in Bash. Idaho farmers are making... oh my goodness. Here, I'll read the first couple sentences from the first one. Mud Lake, Idaho. About 600 farmers drove deep into the frigid southern Idaho prairie Saturday, rounding up an estimate of 15,000 jackrabbits and clubbing them to death with baseball bats, axe handles, and tire irons. The farmers say an estimate of $5 million worth of grain crops have been destroyed by the long-eared, dingy-furred hares, which are in a population explosion that occurs about once every 10 years. Riding horses and motorcycles, whooping and hollering, the farmers and some wives and children drove the varmints from 2 square mile area into a funnel-shaped trap stretching almost a mile in length, and then into slaughter pens. Thousands of jackrabbits jammed atop one another as high as 3 feet in their panic, kicked and screamed as they were close. This is horrifying. This is horrifying to read. Oh my god. When they ate more than you can grow, you have to do something, said Kyle Carter, who farms 160 acres of grain and potatoes. I had only 30 acres that produced anything worth keeping. Yeah. Let me do a quick little googly here for you. How large is an acre? 4,000 square meters. Well, I guess. What does an acre look like? This actually helps quite a bit. So, okay, this is actually a very good way to explain it. An acre is about 66 feet in width, and in length, the amount of potatoes needed to make a line across from one end to the other of an acre is 1,584, or 18 average-sized home equals 1 acre. So this guy had 160 acres worth of food that he was able to produce. Once again, for his table and his community. And he was only able to make 30 acres worth of food because of because of this population boom. I don't like the fact, I don't like reading any of this. I didn't like that. It just made me feel very unpleasant. But at the same time, if the hares keep going the way they are, they're going to kill themselves through starvation or disease, for one. And two, they're going to start killing the people by eating all their food. So, Jesus. Yeah. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation, right?
What is now known as a rabbit drive, aka culling the rabbit population in the western states dating back to the early 1800s. All the articles back then are like one of two things. They were just letting the community know how well the rabbit drive went, and since cameras weren't super common back then, they would literally just draw pictures. Or they were announcing an upcoming rabbit drive to get volunteers to help them get rid of all these fucking rabbits, and you can really tell it was written in like the 1800s because there's just zero fat. There's no filler words, nothing in these ads in the paper. Quote,
buzzwords, we don't need to worry about retention rate or anything along those lines. People are literally just here for the facts. I don't care about hearing the buzzwords. They just want to know what the hell's going on.
Rabbit Drive, Duster, Tuesday. A rabbit drive will be held at the Duster community beginning early Tuesday morning, according to an announcement from that place. The drive will begin at Pete Duke's place.
This also stems from, like, at the print shops, when you want to put an ad in the paper, it was basically like you would have to pay per letter, not like per word or anything like that, per letter. Each one of these, like, when they were making these sorts of prints, it was a whole endeavor to make like the blank, and then it was just actually, in order to make all these papers, like, it was they would have to type them out. They didn't have like a proper printing press and all that sort of thing usually. And the printing press they did have was basically like a typewriter. So they would charge based on the word or based on the letter or something like that. So you would have to be like, okay, let's be very condensed with what we can put on here.
Meat on a bun with nothing. Add ketchup if you want. I couldn't care less.
Literally, just grab your axe handles and show up to Pete's place. We're beating the shit out of rabbits. And this worked for like 100 years. It was just part of life. You're a farmer out on the prairie one day. You look out your window and it looks like the prairie's moving because there's millions of jackrabbits. Then you go look at your crops. Your crops are gone. So you call up the boys, you grab your axe handles, and you go play whack-a-rabbit. Okay, there's nothing malicious to it. They didn't necessarily enjoy it. It was just straight up, this is what I've got to do to
There were some people who probably enjoyed it.
feed my kids, I'm gonna do it. Okay, occasionally was there the one farmer that maybe enjoyed it a little bit too much, like he lost too much of his crop and he's pissed, or he's going through a divorce and needs to let off some steam or something? I don't know, probably. But at the end of the day, what do? I mean, we were killing rabbits, he enjoyed killing the rabbits a little bit too much. Not much you can do about it, you know, just make a mental note, don't let your kids go over to his house to play with his kids. Like, move on. For the most part, it was just people doing what they had to do to survive. And then the farmers took another thing from the Native Americans, and they didn't just leave a giant pile of dead rabbits. No, they used them as best they possibly could.
Which, honestly, that is the one thing that I'm really appreciative of. Like, when these sorts of things have to happen, it sucks. But as long as their death isn't literally going to nothing, then the circle of life is justified. It's those types of people who go out there and who'll, like, shoot a whole ass moose and just take, like, the tongue and the antlers and then walk away and leave the entire thing to rot. That is disgusting. Yeah, you're feeding the bugs. Congratulations. You're feeding maybe like a scavenger. Congratulations. You basically waste a huge amount of food, a huge amount of pelt. Literally everything in the creature can be put to very good use, and yet you just let it rot. At least these people are, well, once again, they're farmers. They need to make use of literally everything in order to, you know, make ends meet half the time, because farming's not that lucrative. It's good living because you have your directive, you're giving back to your community, and you're able to put food on your own table for basically free. The only payment you're putting is your time and effort. And there's a lot of effort. So they'll, you know, try to find ways in order to cut expenses down quite a bit, or bring in more money. Rabbit pelt. Good shit. All that meat, and they don't use guns. They didn't use guns because that would be expensive. They used clubs. Yeah. Pre-tenderized meat. Bonus.
They skinned them, they used their pelts, they ate them, they fed them to their
Fuckisons.
chickens, they fed them to their hogs. They got every ounce out of that animal that they possibly could. But then in the 1930s, things started to change because there was the biggest jackrabbit population boom ever. And that is because of the Dust Bowl, aka a massive drought that lasted for years. And what's the environment that jackrabbits thrive in?
Yeah.
A drought. It also kills off the natural predators, so the jackrabbit population just fucking explodes.
Oh
To give you
my
an idea
God.
of how many jackrabbits there were, the Wichita Beacon in 1935 reported an estimated 8 million jackrabbits in 30 counties. Around the same point in time, from
Okay.
another newspaper article I found in 1934, it was estimated that a single jackrabbit would do $10 worth of crop damage every single year. And that's in 1934 money, which is $250 today. So you've got 8 million rabbits in 30 counties. 250 times 8 million, that's $2 billion worth of crop damage a year.
Holy
And that's
crap.
just in one section of one state. And to make things even worse, you know what else is going on?
And I know there's a lot of people out there who get all like, oh, but you're just talking about the money. You're just talking about the money. That is a metric. That is a metric. Do you have any idea how much $2 billion worth of crops is? That's a lot. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of livelihood. That's a lot of, like, living for those people. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of, like, industry. That is huge. That is a huge thing. That is not a small amount.
During the Dust Bowl?
Also, one rabbit being able to do $250 worth of damage. How much do you make in a day at your job? That one rabbit is capable of doing that much damage. A singular 9-pound rabbit is able to do that much damage.
The Great Depression. People are already desperate, aka these rabbits gotta go. But it's not that simple anymore because something else happened in the 1930s. In the 1930s is when animal rights became professionalized. This is when you had humane societies and animal rights groups popping up, aka Industrial Revolution has happened. The quality of human life has risen so high that you can now make a living bitching about how other people make a living. Newspapers are now much more prevalent. Radio's now mainstream. Information is traveling so much faster than it ever has in human history. Because of this, people that are completely disassociated from the issue and don't understand the issue are now hearing about the issue, and they're developing very strong opinions and feelings about this issue. And when
It's like I said in my Rev video that I posted yesterday. It's a sign of good times when people are able to just find the most silly things and start bitching and moaning about. Yes, animal rights isn't a bad thing to fight for. Not at all. But when you put everything into context, when at the end of the day, taking care of these rabbits is actually like a boon to the rabbits. It's actually good for the rabbit population. Not good for the rabbits individually. No, they're having a bad time. But unfortunately, they also didn't ask for this sort of situation. They were brought into the situation, and they're just doing what their brain tells them to do. It's not fun. And once again, before you start forming opinions, before you start, like, getting on your soapbox and saying, this is how everything is, this organization's terrible, these people are bad, this group is horrible, and all that sort of thing. Before you start getting onto your soapbox and trying to say that, take literally 5-10 minutes and look at their side of the argument. Try to put yourself in their in their shoes for a little bit. You might end up being able to figure out where they're coming from a little bit better. Yeah, you don't have to agree with each other, but also having a little bit of understanding can go a long way. And yeah, in this situation, the activists are definitely in the wrong for stopping this, because once again, okay, congratulations, you stopped the rabbits. Well, now you don't get any food. Now you get to suffer. Have fun with that.
These people that have never seen a jackrabbit hear that farmers are beating jackrabbits to death with axe handles. They're not picturing a jackrabbit, you know, this 9-pound agricultural terrorist running around eating 1/9 of its body weight in crops every single day. No, they're picturing cute little Peter Cottontail and a big mean farmer with an axe going out there like a barbarian. And then they hear that after the farmers kill all the rabbits, they're skinning them and using their skin, and then they eat them, and then they feed all the meat to their hogs and their chickens, and they just absolutely lose their minds because they don't know that chickens are like actually vicious predators, literally the descendants of fucking T-Rexes. Okay,
Not 100% true as far as I know, but it's still funny to pretend that. But it's still funny. Yes, chickens are dumb, violent little critters. They will eat everything, including their own young, themselves, everything. I've only seen a handful of things that a chicken won't eat. Okay? And unfortunately, the handful of things that they won't eat end up being also problematic little critters that run around your yards. But that's a story for another time.
You know what hogs will eat? Literally fucking anything. You know what chickens will eat?
Including you if you fall into their trough.
Also, basically pretty much anything, including other chickens.
Fish? Eat other fish?
Yep.
The marlins and the trout? What's he talking about?
Chickens literally kill other chickens, like to the point that it's a problem. You want to know who understands that problem and genuinely cares about it?
Farmers.
That's why in 1903 they created chicken
Eyeglasses for chickens, intended to prevent fowls from picking out each other's eyes. Make unique appearance. That's amazing. Didn't take, but it's still crazy. It might be supposed from a glance at these spectacles that chickens, like human beings, suffer from disease of the eye, and that the inventor, no, chickens might suffer from that sort of thing, sure, but that's not why. That's not why. Let's just prevent the chickens from killing each other.
Glasses and had them patented. Okay, the farmers didn't do this because they thought it was cute. They didn't want their flock to have mad drip so they could flex on all the other chicken farmers. No, they did it.
I mean, there is that might have been part of the reason. Because that'd just be funny. Look at all my chickens. They got drip.
Because if they don't put the glasses on the chickens, they'll peck each other's eyes out. And then they made the glasses red so that the chickens couldn't see blood, because if one chicken gets hurt and is bleeding, the other chickens will swarm it and kill it. And if another chicken gets hurt during that swarm and that attack, then they'll attack that chicken. And then next thing you know, your entire
piranhas.
Flock of chickens have murdered themselves in a cage match. But these people don't understand this, nor do they care to try to understand it, so they just get their feelings hurt and get loud about it for no fucking reason. Which is infuriating, because the farmers are literally doing what you're supposed to do. They're using the entire animal to the best that they can. That's exactly what the Native Americans did. And when you hear about the Native Americans doing it in like elementary school, it's like, oh my God, the Native Americans were such great people. When they had to kill a buffalo, they made sure to use every part of that buffalo. Farmers doing the same shit, but when they do it, they're crazy assholes.
Yep.
And these people are voters, so the government's got to step in to try to make everybody happy. And what the government comes up with is, rather than hosting rabbit drives, they're going to have a bounty and they're going to put it out on these rabbits. Depending on which county or which part of the country you were in at this point in time, it was like 3, 4, or 5 cents per rabbit that you killed. And just for the record, they are still killing the rabbits. They're not like catching them alive and turning them in. No, they're killing them and either cutting off their scalps or their ears and turning in the ears to get a nickel. To be completely intellectually honest, the government didn't invent bounty programs in the 1930s. Jackrabbit bounties existed prior to that into like the mid 1800s, and they were used at like a local level to try to control the population to prevent a boom from happening. But this is the turning point where the government tried to like shift away from rabbit drives completely because of the high visibility and people getting their feelings hurt, and wanted people to pretty much exclusively use a bounty program. Okay, remember, this is the 1930s.
Which is a bit of a problem. Because when you give somebody a game, people will learn how to cheat the system. And also, it's no longer a controlled situation. It's now we can get an extra few cents for this rabbit. Let's just take it out. And now, the only thing they care about are the ears. And now you don't have just farmers going after them. Now you have just random assholes who want to just kill a random creature for their ears, so that, hey, cool, now I can bring this in and get myself a few cents.
This is the Great Depression. People are broke. So now, not only have you incentivized just the farmers to go out and handle the issue to save their farm, you've incentivized everybody that's starving and poor, which is everybody during the Great Depression, to go out and kill these rabbits. You know what a lot of those people aren't doing? They're not using all of the rabbit to the best of its capabilities. They don't really give a shit about animals as far as doing it as quickly and effectively as possible. So now you're going out, they're shooting rabbits. Maybe the rabbits are getting away. They're not getting a good kill shot. It's not a more humane option. But they don't know that because they probably don't understand guns either. They think that if a bullet touches you, it's like magic. You're instantly and painlessly dead, which is just not how it works, because if you don't get a good kill shot, that animal could roam around for days or the rest of its life and die from infection months later. Whereas a short blow to the back of the head is actually much safer because there's not a bunch of people roaming around shooting fucking guns everywhere, and it's actually more humane because it just kills the animal pretty much instantly and it's painless, which is why it's still literally...
Don't know about painless. Well, I mean, if it is instant, then yes, it's painless. And also, you're not ruining everything about the animal. You're able to use that meat easily. You're able to use the pelt easily. You just need to wash off some of the blood. That's fine. Hell, you could even still use the bones. But when you shoot a rabbit, unfortunately, that giant slug of a shotgun shell that you just launched at that thing, congratulations, tears it up, fills it with lead, which is not an edible substance, and just ruins anything that was supposed to be left of that critter.
The preferred method of killing a rabbit in the manual on how to process a rabbit to this day. You don't believe me? Fuck it, I'll pull it up. What do we got here? Oh, percussive blow to the head. Position the rabbit. Hold the rabbit by its hind legs. Use a heavy but easy to handle object. IG, a club or iron piping. Hit the rabbit on the top of the head just behind the ears. Make sure it's dead. The farmers have literally been doing this the correct, most humane way possible for over 100 years, but to these people that don't understand the issue, that operate on feelings instead of facts, it feels more humane to have a bunch of random fucking people that are starving and poor roaming the countryside with guns, shooting at targets this big, traveling at 45 miles an hour is safer and more humane than a bunch of farmers, aka professionals, getting together, forming a phalanx, and killing the rabbits as humanely as possible. Okay, just so we're on the same page, the job was getting done for free and more effectively by the farmers, but the government wanted to make people feel better, so they stepped in with an alternative solution where it cost money, taxpayer money, and got the job done less efficiently and less humanely. Fucking great job. Terrific.
I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
And you guys are never gonna
Exactly.
believe this, it doesn't actually fucking work. Why? Because the government literally runs out of money. I found an account from a singular county that was paying a 5-cent bounty. They had to quit paying the bounty and call it off after they had 1 million rabbits turned in and they ran out of money. And I found multiple accounts of this all over the country. Once the governments ran out of money, the farmers were like, okay, well, the problem's not solved yet, and I'm not gonna let this rabbit eat all the food so I can't feed my kids and let it kill off all my cattle. We're gonna go solve the problem. And that's exactly what they did. They got the boys together, they grabbed their clubs, they set up a fence, and then they killed all the rabbits. And then the journalists started showing up, and then the animal rights activists that don't live in the area and don't understand the problem started hearing about it, and it...
People with too much time and freedom on their hands going across the country in order to go and protest something they don't understand. Wow, it's almost like that doesn't happen ever anymore. We've never heard about that sort of thing happening ever.
hurt their feelings, so they got involved. They started criticizing and causing problems for the farmers, or trying to get them to quit, and the farmers said, okay, fuck it, fine. You don't want us to kill the rabbits, we'll catch them, and we'll mail them to your state, and they can fuck up all your shit, and that's
honestly, that's probably the best way to deal with it.
That's exactly what they did. They caught a fuck ton of rabbits and they tried to ship them to the other part of the country where jackrabbits didn't live so they could deal with the problem. But Animal Wildlife Services winded up putting a stop to it.
They're like, guys, I understand where you're coming from. We really understand where you're coming from, but you will destroy an entire ecosystem doing this. We can't have you doing that. Have you heard of Australia? Have you heard of Australia and what happened over there with the frogs? We don't want to do that again, okay? Not on our on home soil, please. No, let's not do that.
If for the next like 50 years, this becomes the pattern, right? The jackrabbit population explodes. The farmers go out, they do what they got to do. A bunch of people that don't understand the issue, hear about the issue, get super strong feelings, get really butthurt about it. The farmers pretty much tell them to fuck off. They kill all the rabbits. Then 2 weeks later, nobody actually cares because those people didn't actually care in the first place.
Nope.
How cute does an animal have to be before you care if it dies to feed you?
Which brings us to the Great Idaho Bunny Bash of 1981. Okay, it's 1981. As far as the issue goes, basically nothing has changed. The jackrabbit population booms every 10 years or so. The farmers got to go out, handle the issue to protect their crops. The only thing that has really changed is now we have television and news. Information now travels much further, much faster, and there's video footage of it. That and capitalism has raised the standard of human living so high that not only can one person make a living bitching about how other people make a living, they can actually go out and found a multi-million-dollar organization, and they can hire a bunch of other people, and they can band together and produce nothing for society, and then turn around and spend all of their life bitching about how the people that do produce shit for society are doing their job. So in Mud Lake,
Yep. Oh, and by the way, that was in 1981. We're now in 2026. It hasn't gotten much better.
Idaho in 1981, when there was a jackrabbit population boom and they were eating all the farmers' crops, the farmers who are, 40, 50, 60 years old and have already done this 4, 5, 6 times over the course of their life go, it's time to do the thing again, that thing that I've done my entire life and my dad did his entire life and my granddad did his entire life. Call up the boys, bring out the baseball bats and the fence. We got to get rid of these rabbits. So they put out the call in the newspapers. Hey, if you want to help get rid of all these rabbits and save our farms, show up at Cletus's farm on Saturday at, whatever time. But remember, news now travels faster and further, so people from out of the community are hearing about this. You've got people coming from hours away, from cities, to come out and help with this rabbit drive and kill these rabbits, and some people are just showing up to watch. Okay, and I know what some people are thinking. Why on earth would you do that? Who would want to go watch farmers kill a bunch of innocent little bunny rabbits?
There are people out there who have, like, morbid curiosity. The Colosseum days of Roman Greece and all that, right? Like, humanity's always liked violence in some way, shape, or form. Plus, let me, once again, as somebody who grew up on a farm, who's grown up in the farmers community, farmers know how to put on a goddamn party, okay? They know how to put on a thing. And they feed good. They feed real good.
Pretty much everybody, man. This is the 1980s, okay? They didn't grow up with the internet. They didn't have YouTube. They've got TV, and it only has like 10 channels. These people didn't grow up watching Live Leak. So when they hear that a bunch of farmers are grabbing baseball bats and having a Battle of Thermopylae reenactment against some jackrabbits, fuck yeah, they want to go watch. So that's what happens. The farmers put out the call, and hundreds of people show up. They got like 400 or 500 people showing up with golf clubs and baseball bats to actually help them. And then they've got hundreds of people standing off to the sidelines just being spectators. People are bringing their kids, they're having fucking barbecues and picnics off to the side. It becomes an event. Then the animal rights groups hear about it and they show up.
Wait.
Nope.
Is there no way we can get rid of him?
Not without cause, Michael.
I have cause. It is because I hate him.
Yep.
In addition to the people that just want to spectate and the people that want to help out, other people from all over the country hear about this. There's a mink farmer in Iowa that gets a hold of these farmers and is like, hey, I'll buy the carcasses for 15 cents a carcass and I'll feed them to my minks. There's also a couple of Nigerian businessmen that get a hold of the farmers and they're like, hey, we'll pay you, like 15 cents per rabbit and then you can process the meat and we'll refrigerate it and ship it back home to Nigeria to feed people. To which,
hey, guess what? We're taking care of our own food shortage and you guys are getting paid. Hey, it's almost like that's the job of a fucking farmer.
The farmers are like, cool, and then we're gonna take all the money we make from killing these rabbits, which is something we already have to do, and then we're gonna give it back to our community to fund our community projects. They're literally making the best out of a bad situation. And just to be clear, it's not like they get together one time and kill off hundreds of thousands of rabbits. This is like a process that takes a little bit of time, so it takes place multiple events over the course of weeks or months. Well, after the first event, all these animal rights groups leap into action and basically launch a massive PR campaign trying to paint the farmers as these genocidal maniacs.
Yeah.
They immediately
and it works. Bunny Bash, May Spark, blah, 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 blah.
rebrand what has been known as a rabbit drive for hundreds of years as the Great Idaho Bunny Bash. They intentionally choose the...
We've watched with a fair share of bemusement, the goings-ons this month in Idaho where farmers and youngsters took to the field with clubs and baseball bats to beat thousands of jackrabbits to death. It's easy to have mixed emotions about Idaho's widely publicized bunny bash. Granted, there is something fundamentally unseemly in the spectacle of people running around fields of sagebrush, bashing the brains out of cute little furry-faced bunny rabbits. On the other hand, those same bunny rabbits are crop-debilitating pests.
Word bunny because it's the cutest, nicest, most sensitive word that you could possibly apply to a jackrabbit, and even then, the word bunny doesn't really fit to jackrabbit. They then file an injunction against the farmer.
I mean, it can. Jackrabbits are cute. Don't get me wrong, they are cute. But once again, they are a wild animal. They are a wild animal that is unchecked, and they are a wild animal that is causing massive damage to the ecosystem and to, you know, humanity as a whole. So,
trying to prevent them from killing the rabbits. They go to court. The local judge is basically like, I mean, these rabbits have to go. Like, it has to happen. What do you want them to do about it? And eventually the animal rights group was like, well, fine, but we need to find a more humane way to kill the rabbits. And the court and the farmers both are like, okay, yeah, game. I don't want the rabbits to suffer.
We're all ears. We're literally all ears. Rabbits joke. If you can figure out a more humane way of doing this, we're all ears.
I don't enjoy this. I just need them dead so they don't eat my crops. If you have a more humane way of doing this, I'm all ears. What ideas do you got? And if you don't believe me, I actually have some quotes. This is from a farmer by the name of Orville Twitchell. He's one of the guys that's kind of...
Oh, this is going to be good.
Spearheading these rabbit drives, and fair warning, he actually literally looks like Elmer Fudd, so I don't think that's helping him very much. But looks aside, he really is just a farmer trying to save his crops that wants to kill these rabbits as humanely as possible. I actually found some quotes from him where he said, and I quote, "I can still hear the squeals, but I had to get over the feeling because we did what we had to do. You're swinging a club dressed in layers in below freezing temperatures, and it didn't end until they were all dead, sometimes 30 to 45 minutes to dispatch an entire pen. No question, it was physically exhausting. Was it gruesome? Yes. Was it necessary?
They don't enjoy doing this. I don't think I've ever met a single farmer who actually enjoys having to put an animal down. Yes, there are going to be a few. Of course there's going to be a few. There's psychopaths in every single community. But nobody wants to do this. They never wanted to do this. But it's either them or us, and unfortunately, we're the ones with the clubs, and we have, in our opinions, more to lose.
Yes. So the farmers genuinely are open to any ideas of how to do this more humanely and more effectively. The animal rights groups then immediately recommend poisoning them.
No.
With strychnine.
What?
With, huh? I'm going to be doing a googly.
Strychnine.
Strychnine? What is strychnine? There it is. Strychnine is a highly toxic, colorless, and intensely bitter plant alkaloid historically used as a medicinal stimulant and performance enhancer, derived primarily from strychnus blah 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 tree. It now functions mainly as an outdoor pesticide for small vertebrates like gophers and rats. Symptoms of the poison: exposure through ingestion, inhalation, or mucous membrane absorption causes rapid and terrifying effects. Symptoms usually appear within 15 to 60 minutes and include severe, uncontrollable, and painful spasms, aching of the neck and back, lockjaw and rigid arms and legs, respiratory failure, and eventually death and asphyxiation. How is that humane? Is it because that it's silent and it's not, like, bludgeoning? No! Oh my god, that's disgusting!
What?
To which the farmers are like, fucking no, that's a horrible idea for multiple reasons. One, if I'm putting poison out in the wilderness, I have no idea what's going to eat it, but I do know it's not just going to be jackrabbits. My dogs, my cattle, my horses, coyotes, literally any other animal can walk.
Also, what do you think happens to the animal when you poison it? Do you think that meat is still edible? Fucking idiots.
Walk up and eat this poison, and I'm not trying to kill them. Secondly, if I poison them, I can't sell them for starving kids in Africa to eat, or these minks up in Iowa, so the carcasses are going to waste. That's not good. And thirdly, strychnine is definitely not more humane than a sharp blow to the back of the head. When you poison an animal with strychnine, first it gets muscle aches, and
oh, okay, you were going to explain it anyway, but oh my god.
then it starts having seizures that are induced by light, motion, and sound, and it basically dies of exhaustion from having too many seizures over the course of hours or days. That's definitely not more humane than me walking up and bonking a rabbit on the head. That's fucked up. We're not doing that.
No.
In a shocking turn of events, it's actually the farmers in court fighting on behalf of what's best for the rabbits and not the animal rights groups. It's almost like they don't actually care and they're just virtue signaling to feel good. The animal
Where have we seen that before?
rights groups, realizing that they just got made to look like assholes, come back with a backup idea. They come into
Okay, this is gonna be good. Let's hear it. Let's hear what's your plan.
court and they're like, hear me out. Gas chambers. I'm
Why? 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 What do you mean?
not kidding.
Likes the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews.
Oh.
To which the farmers are like, rabbit concentration camps. You want to recreate rabbit Auschwitz. That's what you guys want. You know what? Fuck it. Fine. We'll give it a shot. So at their next rabbit drive, rather than putting up a fence and a pin and driving the rabbits into the...
Oh, it's also probably more expensive, by the way. Mud Lake, Idaho, despite opposition by conservationists, farmers will be out again today, clubbing to death thousands of rabbits causing heavy crop damage. Bad weather and unsuitable ground conditions force them to abandon a plan to asphyxiate the rabbits in a makeshift gas chamber. About 30,000 rabbits have been exterminated in 3 drives so far this month. 3 drives, 30,000 rabbits.
the fence and then clubbing them, they dug a giant fucking hole and drove the rabbits into the hole, threw a tent over the top, and filled it with carbon monoxide. It didn't really work. It didn't kill all the rabbits. The rabbits that did die actually died from being crushed by the weight of all the other rabbits on top of them, and it was just way less humane, so they abandoned that idea. This is now garnering...
You know what's more humane than a swift, easy, simple death to the rabbits? Asphyxiating them. Make it so that they can't breathe and have to go through that horrifying experience. Yes, terrifying. All the while, other rabbits are being crushed under the weight of more rabbits and being trampled and murdered. Also, rabbits in a hole. Hello, rabbits dig. They can get out. And when a rodent is in a situation where it is in a panic and can't get out, and it's, it's got nowhere to go, it's going to panic, flail, flee, and if it figures it out, can easily chew through a whole bunch of shit. Like, unless you make that thing out of basically like iron or steel, and even sometimes that could potentially fail, those rabbits can probably still get out.
National attention, everybody's watching, so the governor gets involved, and the governor and the farmers go to the head veterinarian of Idaho and ask him what is the most humane way to get rid of these rabbits. And the head veterinarian says a sharp blow to the back of the head, just like the fucking textbook says.
Wow!
Thank you!
So that's it. Case closed. The local judge rules in favor of the farmers. They go back to hosting their rabbit drives, or as the newspapers claimed, make the fur fly again. At which point, the animal rights activists learn something, they realize their mistake, and they move on with their lives. No,
Funny joke. Funny joke.
I'm just kidding. They actually go on a massive PR campaign to slander these farmers. The farmers wind up getting thousands of hate mail letters and protesters showing up, and the animal rights groups actually had people dress up as people that were going to help with the rabbit drives and go into the pens and try to fuck with them. They then proceeded to go to the media and paint the entire affair as horrifically as humanly possible. According to intel from their spies, people were playing bunny baseball and there were little kids inside the pens killing rabbits. First of all, yeah, kids are involved. I know that's shocking to some people, but farm kids do farm shit, and this is farm shit. It's a way of life for these people. That's that's not a big deal. Secondly, trying to tell the entire country that they're playing bunny baseball like they're turning it into some sick game is fucking disgusting, okay? If they had hundreds of volunteers showing up that weren't farmers, is there a possibility that one asshole grabbed a rabbit, tossed it in the air and said, "Hey Jimmy, catch," and Jimmy fucking Babe Ruth that motherfucker? Yeah, absolutely. That probably happened. But calling
when you're also doing something that's very unpleasant and fucked up, you're going to have to try and do something in order to, you know, lighten the mood a little bit. It's going to happen. Guaranteed, it's going to happen. But, oh my... To assume that everyone was fucking doing this, God, no. And chances are good, anyone who did try to get that, they're going to get a whooping from the old heads up in that pen doing this. They're like, we are not here to have fun. This is not a good thing. We are not having fun with this. We are just doing the job. Grow up. And they will say that to a 9-year-old, okay?
that bunny baseball like it's an organized sporting event, like they're literally got the bases set up and they're fucking underhanding jackrabbits to a 12-year-old, and if he strikes out 3 times, they strap it to a tee and let him fucking clock it so he can run the bases and turn it into a game. Absolutely didn't happen.
No.
But that's just me operating off of common sense and growing up around farmers my entire life and knowing that these people, A, wouldn't do that, and B, wouldn't allow it to happen in their proximity. That's not enough. I need actual evidence. So I went back and I scoured through newspapers at the time, and guess what I found out? After the animal rights groups started showing up in mass as protesters, you know who else showed up? The sheriff's department. And you want to know what the sheriff's department did? They A, kept the peace, but before every rabbit drive, they told the crowd of volunteers, we're watching, and if we see any of you doing anything cruel to these animals, we will charge you with a misdemeanor for animal cruelty. Guess how many citations got issued? Fucking 0.
Yep.
The entire thing is just a massive propaganda campaign to paint these farmers like they're psychotic assholes when they're the exact opposite. And unfortunately, it's pretty effective, at least in the court of public opinion, and the farmers didn't really do themselves any favors because they don't have any PR training. They're 40, 50, 60-year-old farmers out in Idaho. They've got journalists and cameras in their...
These are people who their entire life is you wake up in the morning, you do your job, you go home at the end of the day, say hi to your wife, say hi to your kids, eat some dinner, go to bed, rinse and repeat. That's literally their entire job, their entire life. They don't do things that are frivolous. They don't do things that are unneeded. On their days off, they will go out, hang out with their buddies, get drunk on the porch, have a good time, do a barbecue, go to a community event, be part of their community, because that's their entire life, is their family and their community. That's their whole thing. Farmers are very good people. I have met hundreds of farmers throughout my entire life. I will meet hundreds more, guaranteed. And every single one of them is probably one of the best person I've ever met in my life. God. Yeah, they'll do something that's fucked up. Obviously. There's people out there who are weird. There's going to be a farmer out there who's probably fucked up and messed up in the head and just will do terrible things just because they can. Obviously. There's people like that all the time. But, like, at the end of the day, as the vast majority of them, they are great people. They do things that you don't like because you don't understand, and you grew up in a different way. But that's just how the world works for them. Right? Just... yeah, I've got opinions.
When they're asked a question,
I've got thoughts.
they say the truth and they say how they feel. Orville Twitchell, the guy from court that's like spearheading this entire
Twitchell?
entire thing, when he got interviewed by the journalists and they're like, how can you have kids out here doing this, blah, 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 them
to make them ready for when they have to do it again in the future.
Not understanding, like, farm kids do farm stuff. They help me on the farm. This is their job too. They're gonna have to do this when they get older. It's been a way of life for generations. They don't get that. So Orville Twitchell just said the truth. He said, and I quote, "I and 3/4 of the rest of the people in the West would rather see kids in that sagebrush, even if they are beating jackrabbits, than have them sitting in front of the boob tube watching sex movies or in Idaho Falls drinking beer and smoking pot."
Boom.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So they're kind of...
It's true. Once again, like, that's what's happening a lot nowadays. Like, people will hear a random thing online, just a random thing that they don't 100% understand, and it sounds bad. and will instantly think that it is the worst thing happening imaginable, period. Like, and whoever's doing it is in 100% the wrong. What about this right? What about this thing going on? I'm not going to get into specifics, but they won't take 5 minutes to do actual research into what is going on. They will just decide it's wrong.
Inadvertently playing into the stereotypes, which allows these people to spin the entire thing and basically rewrite history. Like, looking through all this, I was finding academic papers about the history of rabbit drives and how fucked up they were. And just, the academic papers are insane. You know what? I'm actually going to read you part of the abstract from one of these academic papers so you can see how fucking stupid these people are.
I'm excited.
Quote, Great Plains responded to eternal threats from the environment by reasserting masculine domination of nature. In contrast to wealthy big game hunters who primarily used their writing to project their manhood, it was through photographs that drives were practiced, shared, and understood. The camera served to eternally fix the male participants as victors in a staged battle between man and beast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were such victors against those itty-bitty rabbits. Such victors. Yes, that was such a masculine, manly event.
Wait, there's more.
Indeed, we cannot understand the rabbit drive without understanding its visuality, seeing it as a self-constructed act of masculine theater that was always intended to be observed. In doing so, the rabbit drive shows how seeming crises in the environment have been creatively repositioned as opportunities to, in fact, protect, reinforce, and exalt masculine control over nature and society.
Wow.
Yeah, dickhead, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. Back in the 1800s when farmers were having their entire livelihoods fucking destroyed, so they got together and said, guys, what are we gonna do about this? And one of them said, I think we have to kill all these rabbits. I guarantee you another farmer said, oh my God, Cletus, what a great idea. And we should take pictures and tell everybody about it. That way we can reassert our masculine domination over society and our wives remember who the fucking bosses are. Because apparently there's nothing more manly than killing a fucking rabbit.
No way. Not this time. No.
If there's one thing that I've learned about farmers growing up around in my entire life is that they're super concerned with like big abstract societal ideas. They're definitely not just normal people that are trying to get by and raise kids and have a family and go to church and be a productive member of society and feed the world. That's definitely not what they're up to. They're secretly getting together and plotting, having maniacal plans on how they can exercise their toxic masculine domination over society via killing bunny rabbits. That's exactly what the farmers are fucking up to. And you morons wonder why people are losing.
Oh, he's popping off. I could put in a few words because I'm feeling the exact same way. Well, man, you pop off, bud. Pop off.
Losing respect for academia when you publish stupid bullshit like this. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked and pissed off. Anyways, the Idaho farmers now have the green light from the local court to continue doing what they're doing, so that's exactly what they do. They keep hosting rabbit drives, they keep killing the rabbits, they keep saving their farms. Meanwhile, the animal rights groups continue to harass them and fuck with them and slander them all over the media, and then they take them to court again on an appeal, and they appeal them all the way up to the Supreme Court of Idaho. In the Supreme Court case, it comes out that they were having spies infiltrate as volunteers, gathering intel, and then they used all this supposed intel to basically slander the farmers and paint the whole thing as some barbaric event. They're telling the judge, like, they're playing bunny baseball and they're having children do this, blah, 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 blah. To which the Supreme Court is like, are you guys playing bunny baseball? And the farmers are like, no.
What?
Okay.
Why? What? The fuck is that? What?
And, well, don't. And they're like,
cool.
Okay. Are you having kids do this? To which the farmers were like, I mean, I'm not checking driver's licenses for ages. If some farmer or volunteer wants to bring their child out here to do this, they're more than welcome to do it. I'm not going to stop them. And the judge is like, okay, well, let's just call it 12 years old. You got to be 12 to participate. And the farmers are like, you got it. That's fine. From here, farmers win.
You don't want them to be any younger than that anyway, because guess what? They're about the same size as the rabbit at that point. And there's a lot of rabbits in there. That kid might get hurt. 12-year-old? you're probably getting about old enough to be able to swing a bat at these rabbits, okay? At least you're starting to be able to learn. We'll put you in the kitty pen.
Get the green light to continue. They continue the rabbit drives until they've solved the problem, and then the issue disappears into history. And I know what you're thinking. 1981 was like 40 some odd years ago. How come there hasn't been another major jackrabbit population boom? In addition to that, DNR and wildlife services are much more advanced in understanding about how ecosystems work, and they regulate the killing of predators of jackrabbits much more strictly, and all of this comes to allow a more natural control of the jackrabbit population. But that doesn't necessarily guarantee that a jackrabbit population boom will never happen again, and if it does, I'm absolutely positive the farmers will do whatever has to get done, and I'm also, unfortunately, absolutely positive that the animal rights groups and the academics
Blue Sky will go crazy on that one.
will be right there talking shit and rewriting history the entire time. And that is the story of the Great Idaho Bunny Bash of 1981, aka a rabbit drive, something that had been happening on this continent for thousands of years, literally predating written history, that animal rights groups and academics then utilized to slander hardworking farmers that were doing nothing more than simply trying to get by. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon. Links to both of those over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. I'm gonna be honest, this entire video started just because I saw a meme about the Bunny Bash of 1981 in Idaho, and I thought it was interesting or funny or crazy that farmers were going out and beating up rabbits with baseball bats. And then the more I looked into it, I realized that it was just a giant hit piece on farmers that were literally just trying to survive, and it pissed me off.
Right? That was exactly me before this video. I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting little look into the the head-to-head of farmers versus rabbits throughout the years, and how that all escalated, and how farmers have had to deal with rabbits and pests in their fields. No. It was that, but also we're learning how that had to devolve into some sort of PR campaign that the farmers were just not interested in having to deal with at all. Anyway, make sure you go like, share, and subscribe, all that fun shit. This was an amazing video. Check out Fat Electrician if you don't already. He's great. He does great work and all that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye. What? Hey, did you enjoy that? Was it funny? Well, come and check it out live over at twitch.tv/freeform_art. Make sure you put the _art. We have lots of fun there. We enjoy ourselves, and we want to see you over there. So come on and hang out. See you in a bit.